Hello everyone, my name is Howard Dorman, and this is Rhetoric and Comprehension 2 Midterm Video Project. In this project, we were given the privilege to learn about rhetorical analysis, which deal with logos, pathos, and ethos. We were also given the task to choose whether a commercial, a poem, or a speech, or even an essay of some type or sort that we were able to use rhetorical analysis and display and show how that logos, pathos, and ethos played a part in whatever it is we chose. I decided to choose President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. The reason why I chose Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address is because 87 years after the independence in 1776, Abraham Lincoln decided to address or make an address during this time because he wanted those that remained alive, as heartbroken as they were, as sensitive as this time was, he wanted them to come together to not only remember those who sacrificed their life and their time for the nation, but he wanted to make sure that what they sacrificed was not in vain, based on what those that were living and remaining at that time would do with what was given to them. He also wanted them to understand that there was a rebirth or a new birth of freedom that he believed was to be implemented or was to be the new normal, but it would come through those that remained alive. He then also addresses the government, which is dealing with for the people and by the people. And as we continue to go on with President Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, I realized that as it relates to logos with his address, he deals with, as well as he illustrates the supremacy of the Declaration of Independence, which focuses on the value of equality. And again, he then does address the rebirth of freedom because he believed in the rebirth of freedom. Remember, also during this time, it wasn't just the Civil War, but you also had slavery going on this time. So blacks did not have the privilege as white people did to vote, to have the freedom to go wherever they wanted to go, to own their own land and property and things of that nature at that time. So all of these things encompassed together played a major role. But then he deals with pathos that remembers the fallen soldiers. He not only remembers the fallen soldiers, but it becomes a moment of humbleness. It becomes a moment of sobriety and a moment of sensitivity that he was even able to commemorate and remember the acts of duties that these men did and the sacrifices that were made. He also then addresses enduring the furthering suffering of the Civil War, that they would then take the burden of those fallen soldiers. And then lastly, but not least, when it comes to ethos, he starts his speech off by addressing the founding fathers of our nation and what it was they stood for and what it was that they believed in, which gave essence to who he was as an individual and gave much credibility to him. He mentions even the basic principles of the American nation in which it was founded upon, which deals with liberty and equality, which is very important at this time and even also during that time. And so as I conclude, I would have to say overall, this Gettysburg Address caused me to have a different outlook, even as it relates to Abraham Lincoln, because even in his address to the Gettysburg situation during the Civil War, he never addressed I. He always said we. In other words, he felt or made himself involved. he put himself on the same level as the people, because these people that remained were mourners of their loved ones who fought in battle. So these people had mixed emotions. They were numb, they were frustrated, they were annoyed, they were angry. They didn't know what life would be for them from here on out. And so this Gettysburg Address came to them and for them at a time that they needed to know that there was still hope for them. But they didn't realize that the hope would only come through them. Although their loved ones had sacrificed their life and they had to now build and pursue and go forward from where they currently are, they had to also realize that their freedom, their new birth, their rebirth would come through them and what those that had gone before them sacrificed. And so he connects clearly with the audience and his commitment to help, and their commitment to also him directing their commitment to help with the war, to make sure that those that have laid down their life did not do it in vain, because it would mean nothing if they fought the fight that they fought, losing their life, and at the end of the day, the nation still will remain the same as it did. So I hope you get an opportunity to go back and read Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and apply rhetorical analysis with logos, pathos, and ethos, and I promise you, you will have a better understanding and outlook, as well as you'll be more sensitive to hearing the heart of a man who was superior to people but humbled himself because he wanted them to understand and to realize that at the end of the day, the only way we can build this nation, the only way we can push this nation to where it needs to be is through you. But he chose to start his speech off by using something that was important and beneficial and influential to the people, was giving them something that the founding fathers made sure from day one that we understood and that we knew. So I encourage you, as well as I challenge you, go back and reread it. And if you don't have an understanding of rhetorical analysis as it relates to logos, pathos, and ethos, I challenge you to do your research on that too. I guarantee you, everything that you watch on TV with Super Bowl commercials, etc., you'll realize logos, pathos, and ethos are all a part of this. All right? Have a good one.